So don't talk about funding and training because these cops have zero interest in training. All right, let's get into some details, some new information from the Uvalde shooting. Couple things to cover here, really. So I hear from Fox News of all places. Uvalde school shooting, officer whose wife was shot was disarmed and escorted away from Texas DPS chief says. Texas Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw ripped into the Uvalde school police chief's handling of last month's shooting at Robb Elementary School and said there were some officers that wanted to approach the gunman earlier, including a school district police officer whose wife was killed in the massacre. That Officer Ruben Ruiz received a call from his wife, Eva Mireles, who told him that she had been shot. He tried to move forward into the hallway, McCraw said Tuesday at a Senate hearing. He was detained and they took his gun away from him and escorted him off the scene. Mireles later died in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. Well, time was of the essence there, wasn't it? Wow. While McCraw criticized the school's police chief, Pete Arredondo, for not confronting the gunman sooner, several Texas state senators pressed McCraw on why DPS officers didn't take charge at the scene. He says, I appear to be hypercritical of the on-scene commander, and I don't mean to be, but the facts are the facts. Mistakes were made. It should have never happened that way, McCraw said Tuesday to the Texas state capitol, accusing Arredondo of replacing the lives of officers before the lives of children. Yes, this fat coward right here, this guy, put the lives of police officers in front of the lives of children. That is a fact. That is a fact. He deserves to be disgraced, fired, taken off the city council, and humiliated for being the coward that he is and even wearing that badge. Law enforcement officials released the most detailed timeline on Tuesday of last month's shooting in Uvalde, Texas, which left 19 children and 2 adults dead. 9 officers, including at least 2 with rifles, entered the school at 11:36, 3 minutes after the gunman walked into the school and started firing into classrooms 111 and 112. So 3 minutes after he walks in and starts shooting, officers are there with shields and rifles. Are we for real now? We understand where this is coming from. Additional officers arrived with the first ballistic shield. Excuse me, they didn't have shields at 11:36. They had them at 11:52, with 2 more shields were on the scene shortly after noon. Despite that, Arredondo waited over an hour for more firepower, tactical gear, and a key to unlock the classroom door, which wasn't necessary because the door was unlocked the entire time. McCraw said on Tuesday. They didn't even try the door. They didn't even try it. You didn't try it? You didn't try to open the door? It was unlocked, bro. And here's the thing, too. You've got officers who are trained, my ass, right? You've got officers who are trained or pretend to be trained, running around like G.I. Joe with tactical vests on, with ARs, with or without a shield. Doesn't matter. The rules of engagement for an active shooter are simple. Neutralize the threat first. That means you die, you die. That's what happens when you're a cop. You expect to be respected? You get the respect you deserve. And right now, Arredondo, you deserve 0. Less than that if it's possible. Okay? I mean, one cop's wife was dying and you detained him and took his weapon away? What the fuck? What in the fuck? The door was unlocked and they're over here trying keys. What are you doing, dude? What is happening here? And the funny thing is, this kid who shot this school up had owned those ARs for a few days at most. How trained do you think you can be having owned one for a few days? Even if you shot somebody else's a little bit here and there, you're not trained. You're not trained. His plate carrier, his body armor didn't even have plates in it. It was just worn as a vest. I mean, the one I used to work out would defend myself more than the one he was wearing. And I bought it from Rogue Fitness. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Okay. Multiple DPS agents and officers arrived at the scene within 10 minutes of the shooting, prompting senators and the special committee to question why they didn't take control. When you're in this kind of a station, lives are at stake. Within 5 to 10 minutes, you know what's going on. You know that whoever is in charge is not making the right decisions. You got to take over and take command of the situation, State Senator Juan Hinojosa said on Tuesday. McCraw responded on the scene command that the on-scene commander is the ranking officer and has jurisdiction. Yeah. That's by practice and doctrine, McCraw said. The sheriff and the chief of police of Uvalde Police Department also deferred to saying, yes, he is the on-scene commander. Now, I want to play this, and I don't like doing this because we're going to play a take from Tim Kennedy. Now, I love Tim Kennedy. I'm going to go down to Texas and do sheepdog response. And I think anybody who's done Tim Kennedy's sheepdog response is probably more competent and capable in a situation like this than any of those police officers were. I'm really excited to do it, but I've got to play this because principles.
How does it make any sense that I'm going to provide this group that I want to protect us with less training and less funding, but then still want them to be a better product to be able to protect us? We have been weakening them, and we have been making them ill-equipped to respond to that. And then I think Uvalde is a great example of not properly trained with broken systems that are not ready to do the right thing. And we will have more of that unless we get them the right training and we get our schools to become hard targets, and then we go upstream to the origin, the genesis of these problems, which is mental health with the individual.
What they said there. Let's look what they have.
Genesis of these problems.
So Fox's lower third there says combat veteran comments on the impact of defund the police in the Uvalde shooting. Okay. Now, while Tim and I will agree on many things, training is woefully inadequate, right? Woefully inadequate. Schools are soft targets, and I hate to say that we should even have to have that conversation. Should be fortified. Yes, mental health is an issue, but Texas Governor Greg Abbott had tons of money to spend on mental health through Affordable Health Care Act, or whatever, it's Obamacare, and decided to not use it because politics, right? Politics. So when we look at this, right, if there's a place in the country where defund the police didn't take hold, it's Uvalde, Texas, man. Okay? It's not that these cops don't have access to things. That's not it at all. They have zero interest in training. I grew up around these kind of cops. They're do-nothing. They're talentless assholes. Okay? Small town. Uvalde has 14,000 people. My hometown has 9,000 people. North Texas versus Southwest Texas. Okay? These cops are useless. They pull over kids for going 5 over the speed limit, not wearing a seatbelt, having window tint that's too dark. That's what they do. That's bust parties, give kids MIPs for drinking or whatever. That's what they do. That's where they make their money. That's how they get that. My granddad used to call them glorified tax collectors, right? And I would get a speeding ticket, be like, "Oh, you paid your highway tax, didn't you?" And that's all they are, right? I mean, he came home. He used to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he hit a stoplight in the middle of nowhere. And it wouldn't change, so he ran it. There was a cop somewhere, pulled him over, 4:30 in the morning, in the middle of nowhere, gives him a running red light ticket. He's like, these guys have nothing else to do. Nothing else to do. And I remember I just remembered that. It was like, that's how these people are. I had a cop on my ass, another one of these Graham cops, on my ass, right up on me. I knew it was a cop. I could see his lights in my rearview mirror. He's on my ass. I'm in the left lane of a 4-lane highway. I merge over with no blinker on, pulls me over, gives me a ticket for no blinker. I was like, dude, I was getting out of your way. You're on my ass. Doesn't matter. That's what they do. They trap you. That's the extent of their job. If something that actually has to happen in Texas, and you saw this, right? He was waiting for more guns. He was waiting for more armor. He was waiting for SWAT. That's what these small town Texas cops do. If they actually have something that's serious, like they need to do a drug bust or something like that, they call in the feds. They don't take care of it themselves because they can't, because they're incompetent. Okay? Now, I want to say, let's talk about funding real quick, Tim. Let's look at the actual numbers here because facts are important. In a town of 14,000 people, their budget is $4.39 million. $4.39 million in Uvalde, Texas. If you think that they don't have enough money in there to hire somebody full-time, someone like Tim, right? Ex-Special Forces guy, physical combat training, right? Even if they just contracted Tim, how much would it cost them, Tim? I mean, tell me this. If you see this, I hope you do. How much would it cost them, Tim, to contract you to come down once a quarter and put people through training? $100,000 a year? You think they can spare $100,000 for that? But I'm sure I bet you they have an armored Humvee out there somewhere, right? That they got on a discount from Lockheed Martin because they had it left over from the war in Afghanistan. And you can't have them letting things go to waste. They can't have a surplus. So let's give it to the cops. Let's militarize the police some more. For what? For what? You don't think they can spare $100K to contract somebody who's a professional like Tim to come down and train them? And I'm sure Tim has a whole network of people that he could talk to, right? So don't talk about funding and training because these cops have zero interest in training. You can look at our boy here. What the hell's his name? This guy, big in here. When do you think the last time this guy thought about training? When do you think the last time Alejandro thought about training? This motherfucker can't get off the goddamn couch, dude. I mean, if I was faced with a situation where I had to defend myself against this cop right here, I would feel super comfortable no matter what weapon he had. I could be out there in my birthday suit and beat this guy's ass. Give him a taser, give him a handgun. I don't give a shit. What's he going to do? I could casually jog away from this fat and you're going to tell me that the difference between this guy being competent and incompetent is training? I think that the difference between this guy being competent and capable of his job and not is what he puts in his face hole. Well, I wonder what this guy's mile time is. 14 minutes? Come on. Tim, you got to do better than that, man. Don't make it a partisan issue. This is not a partisan issue. This is the lives of children. So that's where we're at with that. I wanted to cover that and look at their budget. Look at the real numbers. But at the end of the day, this guy right here is a coward and a disgrace. And it should be made that known. There should be training for every police officer that goes through the academy now saying, don't be this guy. Don't be this motherfucker. That's what we should be saying. Everything that he did, do the opposite. And we'll be better off. For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be on the CIA watch list. I'm close. I'm getting there. But what we need to really solidify our place on a CIA watch list is more subscribers to this YouTube channel. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment. Let's get more views on this. I really want my phones to be tapped. I want to be treated like Julian Assange. And the only way we're going to get there is if you subscribe. So do it.